Hey Keith, how you doing?
Doing good, Luis. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I think we spoke back in like 2021, so it's good to see you again.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Luis. So, how has your day been so far?
A little bit hectic. I've had a couple interviews already, so I'm getting to the thick of it. It's the season, but yeah, otherwise things are all right.
Fantastic, fantastic, Luis. So, Luis, your new album, All Heart No Sleeve, is to be out on November 10th. So, would you like to tell me a bit about the songwriting process and the production behind this new album?
So, a lot of the songs were written. We've had a little bit of a lineup change since our last album. Nick Richards left the band in late 2021, and we need a new guitarist. And our drummer Jason recommended his friend that he used to play in a band with high school, Stephen. They worked together before. He's like he'll be a great addition to the band, and he came in and he fit like a glove. And uh we sort of like changed the writing process a little bit to incorporate him in the process, but it was all fairly smooth. And then we ultimately decided for this one, for our first two records, we went to Eddie from 414 Recordings to record it. But this one, we were like, let's record this one and mix it ourselves so that every decision on the record is made by someone who had a hand in writing the music. So that was our scenario for that, and we ended up renting Link's Music Studio here in Toronto over the course of a couple of weeks, and just churned out the what ended up being the album. And it was a good time, an arduous process at time, but still fun nonetheless.
Fantastic, fantastic, Louis. And Louis, was there any particular concept or a theme that was put behind this album?
Yes and no. It almost when I started writing like a lot of these songs, and the lyrics to a lot of these songs, the music we usually write together as a group, but I usually take care of the lyrics. And um, a lot of these songs were written at the height of the pandemic when you couldn't leave the house, and a lot of the time was feeling lonely, and a lot of these lyrics dealt with loneliness. And the original concept I was going to tell the story about a person who got sick of the world as it is in a big city and going to work 9 to 5 every day, and just decided to get up, leave all their friends, all their family behind, move into the middle of nowhere. But without, any human contact, they slowly go insane and pass away. That was the original plan, and then I was like, wait, no, hang on. Concept albums are dumb. I don't want to do that. So, but some of the songs I've written kind of follow that story. Our first single, Heaven in the Cold Clouds, was about that. Someone who's frustrated with 9 to 5 life and wants to move away, away from everyone else. Only the Cowards is about someone who looks back at the people they left behind, back to the relationships of the past that may have ended badly, and sort of realizing maybe they're not so bad. They're at least better than being alone. So there are themes and concepts from that original idea that came out, but I wouldn't call this a concept album at all, because the songs, there are several stories on the album. It's just not just one long story.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. And talking about this album, 8 amazing songs, beautifully written, great musicianship, the acoustics, the overall production, and the overall outcome is totally mind blowing. The progression, it's like getting everybody into the music. That's what is so awesome about this album. So I loved each and every song from this album. So I have to thank you and the entire band so much for putting up this amazing album this year. And as a creator, as a band, what are your thoughts and how do you guys feel about the outcome?
But sorry, again, what do we feel about what?
Or the outcome of this album?
Oh, we're very, very happy with it. The reception, especially, has been really good so far. Our music video for Heaven in the Cold Clouds is approaching 5,000 streams, which we've never even had a video break 1,000 before. So that the fact that it seems to be so well received, and many people like it, reinforces that, what we do, why we do. I don't think we're out to like take over the world or, be the biggest band in the world, but we're just happy playing to people who really like our stuff, and the size doesn't matter. But obviously, the more people who are there, the more people who, it's more fun with the bigger community.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. And yesterday you put up the video for Science Fiction at the Edge of Existence, a spooky video, a kind of closer to Halloween spirit. So, would you like to talk a bit about this making of this video and about the song in particular?
Yes. So the song is kind of like, again, written during the pandemic. There was a time when the only reason you can go outside is go for walks and stuff like that. So there is a cemetery not too far from where I live here in Toronto. And that would be my pandemic activity. I would just go through walks there. And looking at gravestones, I saw a lot of gravestones where one, it was a mixed grave, and one partner had died and the other person's still alive, and the person who died maybe 20, 30 years ago. And I was thinking, it's like, wow, what is it like to be on the other side, being alone, being away from the person you love the most, but not wanting them to come join you because you don't want them necessarily to die and join you. But feeling alone without and incomplete without them. So that was sort of the basis of the song. And it's such a serious song where it's like, let's counteract that with almost like a more fun video. So I grew up playing the board game Nightmare, which is a board game where you throw in a VHS, for those who remember what a VHS is, and a person named the Gatekeeper tells you to roll the dice and calls you a maggot and stuff like that. I'm like, why don't we all dress up like the Gatekeeper and sing the song to the camera, like the original game was. So we actually filmed it in my condo, literally just around the corner here. We rented some lights and like a black screen, and bought like a 2 for beers and put what came out together. So it was a good time. I like it. It's like an ode to like one of my favorite board games of all time. So I especially had a lot of fun with it, and I'm very happy with the outcome.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And a couple of weeks back, you also put up the video for Heaven in the Cold Clouds. And as I said earlier, this album is amazing. And this song, particular as the first single, was totally mind blowing. So, how would you like to talk a bit about this song in particular?
Yeah, so Heaven in the Cold Clouds, like I mentioned before, there was a time when in the height of the pandemic where I know people were, there still wasn't a vaccine, and people were still being forced to go to work and stuff like that. And I knew a lot of people just felt uneasy and unsafe and everything doing that. So I kind of wrote that song based on that. So Marco actually was the one who came up with a lot of the guitar riffs he came up with at home, and he brought them to the band practice. And they're like, that's great. Let's all piece them together. And what ended up piecing together is the song that exists on the album. And then lyrically, that's like I was reading and talking to friends who felt that way. And it's like, there were times when I was like, when nothing exists in Toronto, there's no reason to be in Toronto. Part of the vibrancy of Toronto is the events, it's the concerts and stuff like that there. But when there's nothing like that and rent is so incredibly high, I would rather just be, in a small cottage in Muskoka or in Georgian Bay or something like that on a beach where, it's more beautiful and the scenery is more beautiful and everything like that. I'd rather get away from the city and be there in the times when there's, the city is dead. So that's what I sort of wrote that song based on.
Fantastic. And any big plans for November 10th on the day of the release?
So yeah, we've got a big release party show here in Toronto at the Tail of the Junction with Dammit Goldie and Lubbock Lights. So that'll be the big one, and then just a correlating tour as well. We start actually the night before in London, and we're working our way all the way out to Ottawa, Peterborough, Oshawa, and Hamilton as well. So the plan is hopefully maybe in the new year, maybe in the spring once the snow is melted and touring is a little bit safer, maybe doing a wider sort of like Canada tour. But we're hitting our local haunts in Ontario at least to start.
And 2024, will there be any international touring happening for the band?
I wish a lot of people like because a lot of the media that we've been getting has been international, especially European. And a lot of like our pre-orders and stuff like that are from places like Austria and Germany and Greece and the United Kingdom. And it's like, it's like one day I want to make it out there. I think it would be such a great time to tour internationally, but the budget's got to be there, and the budget's just not there yet. So soon, fingers crossed.
Fantastic, fantastic. And closer to the album is closer to release. Do you have some kind of merchandise plans for the fans?
Yes, we actually do have on our Bandcamp merch page. Actually, we have pre-order bundles which with merch for this album specifically. It was a redesign of our original logo. We basically just gave it a beard and a sword and tried to make it look almost like kingly and knightly, but with the diamond is like the face instead. So yeah, that's a new merch thing. And also we've got I think I have it here actually. We printed it on vinyl, and the CDs are supposed to be in soon. So people who like physical copies, they can definitely get them as well.
Awesome. And
I'm back.
and Louis, like the band was formed back in 2016. So how has this journey with Diamond Weapon has been for you guys so far?
And fun. Like I have nothing but good memory, like good times and good memories with this band. So I say memories like we're ending. We're definitely not ending, but I can probably count on one hand the amount of bad shows we've played or shows where I just wasn't into it. There's just something about getting on the stage with this group of guys in particular where it gets my energy up, it gets my creative juices going. And it's if you're not having fun, it's not worth doing. It's like if you're only doing it for the money and stuff like that. Sure, money is nice and stuff like that, but I would rather be playing to a small audience and having fun than being huge and miserable. So we're definitely having fun doing this.
Fantastic. And what would you consider one of the most amazing moments that has happened over the years with the band?
Ooh. I would say, you know what, it was just so much of it about it, but I enjoyed it. But when Eyes Set to Kill and Awake at Last had they had a Toronto tour date, and they needed an opener for, we were picked, and getting to play with them was a lot of fun. It was an eye opener on how tight they were and what their level of musicianship, and gave us something to aspire to. But they were also such good people. I still have Caleb from I Set to Kill and Vince from Awake at Last on my social medias and stuff like that. We follow each other, and they were just so humble, so willing to almost take like a mentorship role, knowing that we were like a local opener band at the time. That was 2018. We were still just 1 year into being a band. And they're like, thanks for coming. He's like chatting us up and just being all around really nice people. So I think opening for I Set to Kill and Awake at Last is probably up there on one of my like sort of like standout memories.
Fantastic. And what's next for Diamond Weapon?
So aside from the tour, starting next week, just promoting the heck out of this album as best as we can. Potentially there is talk of about doing like a covers EP, just a 3-song EP of songs that we like but reimagine in the Diamond Weapon format. So that's probably going to be maybe an early to mid 2024 thing. So After that, just more music, more shows, and just more good times.
Fantastic, fantastic. And coming to videos from this album, are these the complete videos that you're gonna do, or will there be more coming up from this album?
There will be more, especially since part of my sort of like things I picked up during the pandemic because I had nothing but time, so I decided to learn things. Is I picked up a lot of videography. Um, so Ryan Stevenson Price from Stratosphere Films did our first music video, Heaven in the Cold Clouds, for this album. But we did the science fiction video DIY, and I think a lot of the videos are just going to be DIY going forward because, again, it's like we were the ones who wrote the song. We should assert a little bit of creative control in what our videos look like. So we're in the midst of a YouTube challenge where every month this year we've released a video, not necessarily a music video, but interview videos, documentary style, like when we played North by Northeast in June. Some music videos, like we did our Clone High cover back in January, and of course Cold Clouds, and now science fiction. So there's a reasonable chance that every of the full-length songs on this album might get a video because we're just, we're very creative. We're having fun doing them. So why not?
Awesome. And Luis, finally, any message that you have for the fans around the world?
Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for checking out our new record, listening to it. If you like it, that means the world to us. We pour our heart and soul into it. So it means a lot that people are very receptive to it. And if they don't like it, that's okay too.
And Luis, I want to thank you so much for giving me today a great opportunity to have you on this show and talk about the new album, All Hot, No Sleeves, a fantastic album. Like I said earlier, I want to thank you guys so much for this awesomeness, and I'm looking forward for more great things from you guys, and hopefully to see you guys on the road soon.
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, Keith.
Thank you, Luis. Have a good day. Take care of yourself.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye.